And we're back. Alex, welcome back to America for your third or fourth visit since we did the podcast. Yesterday we caught up at the bike shed, and you blew my mind when you said last time you were here was like 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's been crazy, man. Like the last, what has from when we first met to what has changed and evolved in my world is phenomenal. I mean, I've been back to the States since then 4 times.
Yeah, ever since.
Yeah.
So let's this quick introduction. Let's start off with the introduction. Let's recap. I think you were episode like 80 something.
Yeah.
How do you introduce yourself? Where are you originally from? And then let's kind of go back to when you came. To what's happened.
So Alex Stoos, owner of Stoos Customs. We've got a custom bike shop based out of Cape Town, South Africa. I founded the business 13 years ago, and just been chipping away. And in the last, I'd say, in the last 2 years has been incredible, like phenomenal, things that I didn't even think was possible, and it's just insane. So yeah, we met 2 years ago when I rented your street glide on Rider Share.
Rider Share, yeah.
And me and my brother-in-law and a few homies rented bikes to go to Sturgis. And then we met via Rider Share, picked up your bike, and we wrapped and just kicked it off. And then
we recorded a podcast when you got back, and then we went from there.
And then
was that your first visit?
So that was my first visit. So I lived out here I've lived out here 13 years ago.
Yeah.
And that I hadn't been back in 10 years. Since then, I've been back 4 times.
Yeah.
So I didn't come here in 10 years, and now, and if everything goes the way it goes, I'll be coming out a lot more.
More frequently.
Yeah.
Now, that first visit is you went with your brother-in-law and you were doing a whole trip and experience and stuff. There wasn't much business going on,
that was just purely for fun.
Right.
And obviously subconsciously and back in the head, I'm going to Sturgis. So there was a business orientation to it, but that's what I sold myself to spend the money it's business.
Right. That's what you told the wife.
Yeah. And the accountant.
No, but it's so much good stuff has come out of it. So now let's catch up. Now you've been to Roland Sands. Last time I saw you.
Yeah, the Handbuilt show.
The Handbuilt show,
Yeah. So actually what kicked it off was, so after our interview here, I flew back to South Africa and I finished off the XX.
Yeah.
So that's a bike I've been working over in my spare time over the last 4 years. And I finished off, entered into a competition. And Alan from Revival Cycles was at that show in South Africa. And he saw it. He's like, man, this thing should be at the Handbuilt show. So I was like, sure, that would be freaking incredible. Yeah. So anyway, got everything lined up to send it there. And it's quite expensive to obviously fly your bike from South Africa.
Right.
So yeah, I landed in at the Handbuilt show and I left it there, and then that's when I also flew to transported to California to enter the Roland Sands show, and now recently it was at the One Motor Show in Portland.
Well, it was also at Bike Shed for a minute.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah, it was at Bike Shed forever, and people were like, "Oh my God, look at this bike!"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah, he did it during COVID. Look at those, because everybody's those welds are insane."
I know, they're like, "This is ridiculous. How many months of your life did you lose?" I was like, you know what? There were some blessings in COVID.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the blessings
and
there.
I must say, I met Morgan at the Bike Shed, and what an
Morgan! Shout out to Morgan! Woo! The crowd's wild. He's awesome.
And yeah, just everyone at the Bike Shed are just such legends. They just let me keep my bike there for months on end, and you know, when you fly back, you don't know where to put your bike. You're stressed out, and Morgan's just like, don't stress, brother. Park it here, and we got you.
And real quick, how did you meet Morgan?
So the crazy thing was, I met guys at the Handbuilt show, and that's what I love about it is, you know, they've got it's all about the builders. So the night before the show starts, we all the builders meet up and we chat, and you know, you just rap about what you've done, and it's very inspirational. So you talk about what they've created, how they did it,
techniques, kind of like what you were doing with Remy yesterday.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
and I met a chap there, and he's just like, we started chatting, and he's like, "Where's your bike going next?" I was like, "I have no clue." So he sent me Morgan's number, and I reached out to Morgan, and
welcoming.
Yeah, he's just, no stress, Bruce. Send it to the Bike Shed from Texas. We'll look after it. And yeah, got Iconic Motorcycles to ship it down, and the rest is history.
Now, you mentioned Iconic Motorcycles. They're a shipping company?
So as far as I know, they've got the.
I mean, there's Iconic helmets and Iconic this, but it's not the same brand.
No, so it's they actually, I think, if I might get this wrong, but Iconic Motorcycles, they do auctions and sales of bikes from around the world. They're based in Santa Monica.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, they've got a shipping transport company within the company.
Nice.
So I reached out to them, and yeah, it's super awesome. They helped me out, and now they're actually helping me get my bike to London to show it at the Bike Shed show.
Bike Shed show, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's like 25,000 people or more.
Yeah, it's crazy. And like last year, it was just linked up with the GP, Isle of Man. So the
Which you're also doing this year.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I've been, that's why like the last 2 years have just been absolutely phenomenal.
We were talking about yesterday about like it doesn't always happen, but it's like 5 years.
Yeah.
Like 5 years.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. Tell me about what you were explaining. Like you work your ass off, even though you've been doing it for 10.
Yeah.
But like.
So it's actually quite crazy. So I mean, I've had my business for 13 years now.
Yeah.
And in the last 4 years, it's just boomed. Like, you kind of get despondent, what am I doing this for? And you kind of, you have other qualifications. You're like, if I would have chased that, I would have been financially very stable. And then, there's a few times, because I'm also a diesel technician by trade.
Right.
And I'm like, I said to my wife, hey, you know what? I'm going to give this. I'm going to go work on the rigs. It's good money. I can
get a job tomorrow.
Yeah.
Not worry about the stress.
And now I'm earning dollars straight off the get-go, but I'll be gone for 8 months of the year. And there's many times. But anyway, I was just like, nah, sometimes there's a bigger picture than the money. Like, I would be miserable. I'd have money to spend, but I wouldn't be stoked. And while I was contemplating this, I got on one of my bikes. This was 3 years ago. And I was like, really like, had enough now, wit's end. And I got on my bike with the first custom bike I built when I got to South Africa. And within 30 seconds of riding it again, I was like, this is what I love. This is what I do. And I was like, I have to keep on doing it. I don't know anything else. This is it. And it just slowly but surely transformed. So since the last time we chatted, we've added on a coffee shop, secondhand bike sales, a storage facility. So we've got a lot of...
You're going to have rentals?
We're going to have rentals soon. Yeah. So we went from like 300 square meters to 1,000 square meters now.
And for Americans, how many feet is
3,000 square feet.
3,000 square feet.
Yeah, and from me and 2 other guys to, at one stage we were 14 people last year.
Yeah.
I kind of backed it down a little bit because it became a bit corporate, and I wasn't enjoying it. Like, I was just stressed all the time, and it was just too much people. Like, it was just becoming corporate.
Yeah. And
I had to follow corporate rules because, you start getting to a certain level, you've got to treat everyone in a certain way.
Yeah.
So anyway, now we're back to 7, the OG team, the original, and now we're enjoying it. You can see people are a lot more happier, and
clients feel it.
100%.
Clients feel it.
Yeah.
You can taste it in the coffee.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't that crazy?
It is. And the other thing, we've partnered up with great companies like Monster Energy and Motul. So we really got all.
Hence the Monster energy drink.
Yeah. That's just purely by accident.
Yeah. So weird.
Maybe just subconsciously. I walk in, I just grab it.
Yeah.
It's a little overwhelming that, at some stage where you're ready to give up and you just like one more day, and
it's interesting because. Just you talking about this, the inspiration and the belief and the, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
The last time I got this was with Ivan, and we were talking about, coming from a different country or raised a certain way and then coming to America and seeing these opportunities and that keeps your drive going.
Yeah. And what's possible. And I think, because we always like, in my head, I was like, when I had to move back to South Africa from LA, I was like, my dream's done. How am I going to chase? I've seen what's possible and what is possible to obtain, but how am I going to obtain it in South Africa? We don't have the resources. We don't have I can't just pick up a phone and have something delivered in the next day or in 12 hours. So it just takes longer to establish it. And if you've got the passion, the drive, although passion sometimes is just not enough, you just got to have that discipline.
Yeah.
And we're very fortunate that we've got great connections in the industry, and we deal a lot with Parts Unlimited, and we fall under the European bracket, but we've built a really good relationship where we have parcels and whatever we need now delivered within 45 working days, which is great for us. So we have opened the doors to what's possible from South Africa, where your motorcycle industry is so small. Yeah. Then you decide to want to ride a Harley in that industry. That's even smaller. Now you want to be even crazier and decide, you know what, I'm going to customize these bikes. So now you're not even in a 1% of the market. And yeah, it's just surreal.
It's wild. Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, I run into that with the podcast. I'm like, I want to focus on like the Harleys, but then it's like, that's such a small percentage. Then I want to focus on the BMW, and then but the BMW guys hate the Harley guys, the Harley guys, and then you run into like, wait a minute, this industry is really small, and I'm making it smaller, and but I don't want to limit myself. And then I get then with the live wire, I'm like, I'll focus on electric, but then everybody hates electric. it's like
where do I win?
Where do I go? What do I do? And now it's like I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
like, you just got to roll with it. We all like two wheels,
I think that's and that's what I've also is like. I was a firm Harley shop, and now in the last 2 years, I've done 90% of my bikes are either BMW or Triumph, and I do the Harley now every now and then. Where like let's say every 10 custom bikes I do, 8 of them were Harleys.
Yeah.
Now only 2 of them are Harleys, and it's opened my customization to that small pool of the custom world in South Africa, and it's also grown internationally now. Like most of my clients are from Europe that have a house in South Africa and they want a cool bike. And now after the
is that common? A lot of Europeans have a house in South Africa.
It seems to be growing quite a lot. So
it's like the Palm Springs of
Cape Town. It's affordable. Well, when you come on euros, and it's beautiful, man. Like I get to travel a lot, and I'm not just trying to sell it because I live there, but Cape Town is a special place in the world. I mean, the roads are incredible. You can get on your bike and ride coastal, desert, mountains all in one day.
Yeah.
So it's really phenomenal. And the scenic, like we've got these mountain passes that are just absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
As do you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, as do you guys. But I think
without the traffic.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if I time it right, I'll get a whole imagine the PCH. I'll get like a whole 3 miles or 4 miles. It's like this. It's called I just went blank now. Chapman's Peak.
Yeah.
And if you time it right, I can race that whole section where the sun goes down, and I'll get that whole ride to myself. And it's about, I'll say maybe, might be wrong, but probably 5 miles long,
right,
of just scenic route right on the coast, and it drops off to a cliff, and it's just insane.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
So yeah, the traffic is getting pretty crazy now in Cape Town.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
But they have enough room to create a better infrastructure and roads and everything else. Once it gets to that.
But the problem is now what they do is the new thing, Bryce, and I'm sure that's what you guys had, is condos. So you get a piece of land there that you should actually have 2 houses on. They're now building these apartments that are housing 150 people.
Right.
So
that happens in Miami. In Miami, they got a bunch of condos and stuff. When it's 8 o'clock in the morning, it's time to work. Everybody's exiting their condos. And you got 40, 50 people from this condo, that condo, and it's just instant traffic.
Yeah, it's nuts.
It's insane. But that's the move, I guess. That's how business is.
Yeah, and it's bittersweet. I'm not complaining because it's bringing new clientele to Cape Town. The motorcycle industry is just growing, and with growth, there's the pros and the cons.
Right.
So for the most part, it's all pros. A little bit of traffic. Look, I can't complain. I live a mile away from my house.
Yeah.
I don't even know what traffic is.
Yeah. What is a little weird question, but what is South Africa known for? Some places have the digital boom, and they have Google companies or those kind of things, manufacturing, mining. What do people, let's say somebody wants in California, is fuck it, I want to move out there.
Yeah.
What can they do? What can they expect?
Look.
Or you better bring money.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think now with the way the world is with technology, and I find a lot of my clients that move there, they work remotely. I think with the whole COVID thing, it's just changed the way we do business. You don't particularly have to be in a certain location because of what it offers. It's more to fit your lifestyle than for work. But if you had to go out, Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
tricky one.
it'd probably be that. Just
Yeah.
remote work.
Remote work, because your living expenses you're earning euros or dollars, and now you're renting a house in the South African rand, you're eating on the South African rand.
Yeah.
You live a good life. So I think like a lot of my clients, that's what they do, is they live 4 months out of the year or 5 months out of the year there, because your living expenses versus where they would is just crazy cheaper than where they normally stay.
Yeah, I was just reading an article about Mexico. Mexico's kicking out Americans.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because a lot of people can't afford to live here. So they're going out there doing their remote jobs. But the problem is they're spending dollars, making things more expensive. Then the locals that pay in pesos can't afford anything. So it's like this whole inflation. And the president's like, hey, dude, you got all these Americans coming in. They're not paying taxes. Like, how does it benefit?
Yeah.
And they're making the cost of living for everybody else expensive.
Yeah,
It's a weird time.
Yeah,
I guess my point with that statement is it's a world economy.
Yeah.
It's a world economy.
Yeah.
So I guess you can live anywhere. There was a ship. They made a new ship like 2-3 years ago where it has like 5-6 restaurants.
Yeah, I've seen that.
You can live on it, work from it. You can buy the condo or you can rent it, and it's got a kindergarten to 12th grade, and it just stops port to port, and you just live that way.
That's a cool experience. And I've actually read up in like some articles. There's like this couple that couldn't afford retirement here in the States. So they just booked like something ridiculous, like 72 back-to-back trips. And
well, that's another one. Yeah, people book a cruise ships.
Yeah.
And it's cheaper than retirement.
Yeah. And then
or a retirement home.
Yeah.
And you got, hospitals, doctors, unlimited food,
that sounds like living the life. You get to see all these crazy
shows,
locations.
you get to go in, plus the places you go to.
Yeah.
It's not a bad way to retire.
You just got to figure out at which port you get to ride your bikes.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that other ship was like you can buy a unit and live there.
Yeah.
And then when you stop somewhere, you can stay there. And then you just basically go on your app and see where it goes next. And you can just be like, oh, in like 3 days, it's going to be over here. Just catch up with it.
That's quite cool.
Yeah, it's super cool. And anyways.
That would be fun to do for like a year, just to give it a bash.
Yeah. Now, let's talk about Isle of Man, because it's funny. Every year it happens, I got friends that don't ride.
Okay.
We all have a lot of friends that don't ride. And people lose their shit.
Yeah.
You were there last year.
I was fortunate.
How fucking insane is that?
You know what? I don't care if you don't even have the interest for motorcycles. Like, just the vibe, the feeling. There's just something, it's undescribable. Like, I took all these videos, and you try to show people, it just doesn't make sense.
No justice.
No. And like, I was checking all these videos, and it happened so quickly, like, boom, that I said, it's actually a sound game. When you're sitting there waiting, you actually hear them coming way longer than you see them. So it's just a wild experience. So like, my dad's big into cars, and I just said to him, I said, Dad, just, you don't even have to have a passion for motorcycles, but when you get there and you see this, the feeling, everybody is, it's just indescribable. And I was there for a week, and I had the most insane experience. I actually got to sit like on one of the corners. They lay down a bed, and I just lay on my stomach, and I don't know what turn it was, but the guy comes down at like 280 kilometers, and he is within 3 feet of your face, and just running across, and you just like pure adrenaline the whole weekend. It's phenomenal.
So, and then just to clear it up, Isle of Man is once a year. It's considered one of the most dangerous motorcycle races of all time. They basically get this. It's a British island.
Yeah. It's just out of the UK.
Yeah, with like zero laws. There's what you said, an average of 2 deaths.
Yeah, they said I think the average is 2 deaths every year.
They got like 4 classes.
I'm not sure exactly how the classes work, but there's a lot of riders. Like, they got the side carts, which are just gnarly. You got these.
I haven't seen the side carts.
You just see these oaks literally just like throwing themselves on the side of the road while they're doing, I don't know, like 140 miles an hour. It's just phenomenal. And to just sit there and you see this guy just wide open taps and then gets air on a super bike, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's insane. I think they were saying it takes like 45 minutes at a normal speed.
Yeah.
On the bikes at the speed they're going, they're doing it in 17 minutes. And basically it's open grounds, open streets, go as fast as you want. And I mean, how did the locals, did you speak to any of the locals?
You know what, where we went, I didn't chat to any of the locals because we went with Monster, and they had all the like corners. So we actually just transport got dropped, because what happens is you get dropped off there. So they open the traffic just for a brief time in the days, and you got a time where you want to be, right? Because they have the race, but people need to get on with their lives.
Right.
So they'll open it up so everyone can get to work and back to work. So when you choose a place where you're going to stay, that's pretty much where you are for the day.
You're there.
But I was fortunate enough that we got the whole like start on the starting grid. So Dunlop and all of them were on the starting grid and getting ready. I was right there, and you just it is so raw. It's like where racing started. Like you see them when they say goodbye to their loved one. Well, not goodbye. When they say good luck to their loved ones, it is possibly goodbye, and you can see the emotions are so real when they hug each other. It's not like, when you're getting ready for a race on a track, you're like, good luck. There's not that.
Kick some ass.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This you can actually see, and it's so emotional because you can actually see them hug their children, their wives, their parents, and it's like, I hope I see you after the race, but there's a chance I might not. And it's just part of their blood. And I know that one stage they wanted to try like ban it, and I was like, and the rider's like, this is what I've chosen. This is what my grandparents have done. This is what my parents have done. It's in our blood, and they know what the risk is. So it's unreal.
I wonder how many injuries, because I know average is like last year was like one death, but like on average it's 2. But I wonder how many injuries are.
It's quite crazy. I chatted to the one guy. I forgot which race it was, but he was the guy in the side cart. And when he came back at the end to the hotel, he showed me lifted his T-shirt and stuff. He was black and blue bruised from sitting and like shifting his weight in the cart. So there must be a hell of a lot of injuries.
Injuries, yeah.
Yeah.
That's insane.
But if it's ever
I'm speechless. I made the comment yesterday. That's like the most ride-boundless riding ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's quite crazy. So as we get into the town, we see all the like advertising and lampposts and everything. So they got this like a lot of them is just these old cobblestone walls with no padding, nothing. And you got like a mile of that, and then suddenly there'll be a lamppost, and they decide, we'll put a padding on this lamppost. I'm like, first of all, what are the chances you're going to hit that lamppost? You've got just concrete wall everywhere. Yeah. And so it's quite gnarly because there's not really precautions.
Did you get to ride around the track?
I didn't.
Or the road or the?
No, briefly. So just before, just to get to one of the destinations, we were watching it, but I didn't get to do the whole lap of the course.
Yeah. That would have been nice.
Yeah, we got brave. So I was with one of the guys who's big into racing in South Africa, and he was also one of the guests with Monster. And we're sitting there, we're drinking a few beer, and he's like, "I'm going to do this next year." I was like, "Yeah, we're going to do this." Like all courage, and then wake up the next. I'm like, "No ways,
fuck no,
fuck no." Yeah,
yeah, you can't get me drunk enough to do it.
No,
that was going to be my question. Would you ever do it?
Sure. That's a different level. As much as I'd love to say I would, I don't think my capabilities are nearly where they should be to attempt something like that. That would be a suicide for me.
Oh, for sure. Or not. I mean, you just ride it really slow.
Yeah.
Be last place or something.
Yeah.
What is your favorite type of riding? You got the cruisers, you got the sports bike riding, you got track racing.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I quite enjoy waking up early at like 5:30 and getting on my bike and riding by myself and heading out towards open roads where I know there's good roads and just sending it. So like, I don't have to worry about traffic. I don't have to worry about anyone next to me. There's a certain pass away from me that is it's like the whole trip is, if I do the route, it's about a 250-mile ride. And I'll do that on a Sunday just by myself. And the different terrains. There's one section where there's just so many corners and bends. And it's just, you can really get into it and send it and then just relax. So it's like a good balance of different riding. So I definitely enjoy riding the road by myself. And just cruising and clearing the mind. Nice. I haven't done much track riding. I would like to get into that.
Yeah. What's been some of your favorite rides? Because you've done the Sturgis, you've done PCH, you've done South Africa. I'm sure you've ridden in Europe. Yeah,
I haven't.
Oh, no?
So next year, that's my next trip is to do a European ride.
Yeah, I heard for non-European residents, it's awesome. It's awesome. It's just a lot of windy roads everywhere. But I guess a lot of Europeans want to come to America and just do open roads and or South Africa.
But what is cool about Europe and why I want to do it is the different countries you can see.
Yeah, so many.
So you can start in
all the stamps on the passport.
Yeah.
Bam, bam, bam. That's the best.
So I think I'll have to plan a European trip for 3 weeks and just start in one location, just work my way around.
There's a couple touring companies out there, right?
Yeah. So actually, it was quite cool. I met some. So we had an event in South Africa called Ultimate X, and it's a BMXing event and skateboarding event. And they flew out a mate of mine out there, Danny, who owns, actually, his parents started a dealership in Hungary, a Harley dealership. So he invited me out there. So I'm definitely going to take him up on that. Yeah. So that's my European in. Yeah.
So how are you expanding? You have the dealership, you're building, you're selling bikes, you have the coffee shop, you have all these things. How are you building your presence, and what's your goal in the world as you travel and do these things?
And you actually asked me yesterday, like, what is the return on investment with these travels, because they're super expensive. And you know, my objective every time I flew a bike out here was, when I flew this one, was to sell it. And you know, you kind of focus on trying to find a client. And, who's going to buy it? Is that the right client? That you actually forget the reasoning, the actual main reason you're out there. And as far as I know, as far as I look at it now, is the bike is just my business card.
Right.
And because it's so unique and special, to find the actual oak that wants that bike is a little bit rare. But there's someone that can see what your skills are and what you're capable of, so you can try sell him a different bike, something that suits him. So that's why I've changed my thought, is don't focus on just selling it. It will come. Rather focus on how you can collaborate, what you can build with other brands. So this last trip has just been phenomenal. I mean, I've met so many cool people.
All because of the bike.
Yeah. And then I flew out to the GP, so I got to hang out with like really cool people there. And just, I think in this 2 weeks, it feels like I've been in the States for 6 weeks, because the networking, the events, the traffic, the LA traffic has taken off like 2 years of my life. Yeah. But yeah, and I've just now really like the growth that I felt like my company is going to get out of these 2 weeks is phenomenal. And I was just chatting to other manufacturers, and there's something on the table. I don't want to talk about it yet because it's a bit premature, but there's the next deal that I'm busy with, and I think this could be my, like, you know, in acting, the big break.
Right.
So I'm really, really stoked, because if this goes through and the opportunities, it just levels me up internationally, and South Africa will purely just be my base, and I'll just be very fortunate to travel to the States a lot, and hopefully Europe a lot, and I'll just go back to my laboratory and manufacture, get on a plane, and then come to a lot more shows.
And that sounds like the South African dream.
Yeah. Well, anyone that loves motorcycles in a dream, yeah.
With a base camp.
Yeah.
Over there.
So, and yeah, try earn dollars so I can carry on my lifestyle, get more bikes, and yeah, just because me and my wife, after coming out of Texas, we were really contemplating possibly moving to Texas and, you know, looking at starting maybe a shop in Texas, and I'd run it there. But now, after the growth and, like, you know, everything we've been through, I'm very happy to just stay in South Africa, live there, and then just travel to whatever I need to do, you know, with the right clientele and the right partnership. It really doesn't matter where you live.
Doesn't matter, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, it's a global economy. It's a global world. This is it's a flight away.
Yeah. And we just got such cool stuff on the go. I mean, we, like, in the last 4 or 5 months, we've done about 6 Triumphs, all the bobbers, and now we've got this like package we've designed, and I can literally pack it in my bag. And what would be cool is I could literally get it all done. And a client, let's just say you're based in California, I could fly over and I could customize your bike with this package within 4 days at a shop with a few basic tools, because we've done this cool design that is literally plug and play.
Right.
So I want to kind of see if I can try to pitch that idea to someone. And there's this artist, he goes around the world and he comes and customizes your Porsche. You fly him in for a week.
I seen him.
Yeah.
He's Japanese or something.
Japanese guy. And there's no reason why with what we've designed on this Triumph bobber that I can do that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pitch it to a few guys and see how it goes.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Tell me about your team in South Africa. The people running the shop while
Yeah.
you're playing and having fun, California lifestyle, Hollywood podcasting.
Yeah.
Who's running the things over there?
You know what? I got such a solid team. I'm very fortunate. So I've got Chris, who's the head of the workshop. He does the bookings.
Chris.
So he's the technical guy. So he's doing the quoting and making sure the shop's running smooth. He's also like insane technician. And then in the workshop we've got we call him Yoda.
Yoda.
Yeah, Mr.
He's
Young.
like, I fucking hate that name. No,
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
Maybe. Yeah, he's like 62. Like everyone thinks like he's like a grumpy old man, but he's just like, don't waste my time if you wanna talk shit. Like
Yoda, very Yoda-ish.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But like he's a ninja, so he does all the servicing, and so I do all the fabrication work, and then he does all the servicing. And then we've got Magdalene, who's
Madeline, why not? We'll keep it going.
she does all the booking, and she does the clientele, make sure like the clientele's informed with what's happening. So like super honored to make sure your bike's booked in. This is what's happening. You can drop it off. And then I've got Jay.
Jay.
Some people think he's my bodyguard because he's like 7 foot odd, just big old muscle that tattooed from head to toe, but an absolute legend. So he runs the storage facility and picks up and drops off bikes. And
You're running a motorcycle. It sounds like you're running a gang there or something.
maybe I am. The bike is a front.
Maybe, the bike's a front. What's going on in the back?
Yeah. That funds the trips.
Right. That's right.
Yeah. And then I've got Hector
Hector, ya tú sabes.
who slings coffees. He's insane barista. And then we have Owen. Yeah.
Save the best for last.
Yeah, Owen is the master at detailing and shining a bike. Guys come, that Cape Town erosion comes, corrosion kicks in, and he does wonders. Like the things I've seen him do to the guys' Harleys and the Chromes are insane. So yeah, that's the team. And you know what I always enforce is I hire you for a particular job, but that's not just your job. We're a team. So we literally, like, if someone's absent, we'll fill in where we need to, and that's crucial.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest key of success right now is the team.
Yeah.
Like that has to be the biggest key.
Exactly. I mean, like if let's say the cleaner's absent, you have to be able to pick up a broom and sweep. There's no such, like, look, you got a hierarchy to a point, but I don't want that in my company. Is we're all equals to a sense where if a job needs to be done and I haven't hired you for that job and you won't do it, you don't have time to be in my house. You got to vamonos.
Yeah, vamos.
So, yeah.
Wow, that's good Spanish.
Yeah.
Huh? Is there a Spanish population in South Africa?
Very small, I think.
Very small.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like Hector.
Yeah.
That's it.
And Hector from Zimbabwe. No, he's not from Zimbabwe. Where's he from now? Malawi.
Malawi,
yeah. So, yeah.
That's his fake name. That's his, I got to work. Hey, Hector. Yeah.
That works for me.
They're not going to hire me with my name. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, so it's just crazy with the way things have grown, and I'm just super excited. Just refine things, not grow any bigger. Just refine it and just work smarter.
Perfect it.
Yeah.
Are you gonna? I mean, you kind of said you would, but are you gonna fabricate like custom parts where people could just go online and just start ordering stuff? Do you think you'll get to that point?
So I was doing it at one stage, because and that's where we were. We had a full machine shop, so I had 3 guys in the machine shop, and it was just coming to a point where it was just, I was just insanely stressed every month trying to this becomes like the machine shop was like a demon because it was very expensive to run, and if you had a bad
everything, the machinery, the material, the electric bill,
exactly. So
fitting, if it fits, doesn't fit.
And the crazy thing is, in South Africa, obviously with the load shedding, I had to spend an absolute fortune to get off the grid, so that because we were having 4 or 5 hours of load shedding a day. Now running,
what's load shedding?
So load shedding is when they cut your power. So you have no power because our what's it called, the power suppliers, there's not runs efficiently. So like you have the generators bomb out. I don't know. There's some
like
bullshit.
Run a cable from home and from Hector's.
So we would have load shedding where they cut your power in certain sections so that we don't have a complete meltdown in South Africa. And it was becoming so bad that I couldn't. It was actually to the point where I had to maybe was thinking of shutting down because you just
The whole company,
whole company,
right? Because that's what you were focused on.
Yeah, and so anyway, I invested in solar panel and batteries to just run off grid. And that being said, it just became like such an expensive beast to maintain. And now I'm coming to the point where I actually want to start doing all the machining and engineering myself. So when I get back, I'm actually going to focus on learning CAD better and actually operate the machinery myself, because we don't do huge quantities. So what I'm going to do is, back to the long story of it, is I was investing in all these parts and they were just taking so long to move, because I haven't really had much international purchase with the bolt-on parts. So it was locally, and it was moving too slowly. So now what I'm going to do is design the parts and on the builds I do, and if people want it, I then can just send it to an engineering shop and then they can manufacture it for me. So I don't have that monthly overheads.
Yeah.
And also I've just got these crazy ideas that I want to do and fabricate that it's very difficult sometimes to have someone else get the ideas out of your mind and manufacture it. So just I'll open up a whole another ball game for me.
When you said that, it made me think about when Elon Musk was talking to Joe Rogan about the Neuralink, and he goes, it's going to get to a point where you don't need to talk. And then Joe's like, what do you mean you don't need to talk? He goes, it's just the fact that we have to make these sounds to communicate what we're visualizing is sometimes impossible, because you have like a vision of something. You're like, oh, it's this thing, and it has this other thing, and it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Where with Neuralink, it's just going to be like, check this out. Whoa, like that's gonna be amazing.
And it's so crazy, but it's actually on the way there. Like I saw like a little article about that. The guy was he couldn't speak, and they were just figuring out how to tap into the because it's all electronic.
It's all
So
it's all like electric shocks, or like whatever.
Shit, it's crazy where we are these days.
Yeah, the craziest thing that he said about that whole thing was your memory. Basically, those connectors, those receptors, they start losing power, and they don't connect as well, and that's why you start forgetting things, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. With Neuralink in the future, within 10 years, 15 years, whatever, 25 years, he was saying, I thought this was the craziest shit. He was saying, you'll be able to recall every single memory and moment so well that you can be, 40 years old and remember your 15-year-old memory. And not only that, but your memory will be so good that you'll be able to have a conversation with your younger self and respond because you remember how you would respond.
It's a little frightening, but awesome.
that shit's fucking... Imagine having a conversation with yourself.
So then if that's the case that they are going to do, they're going to be able to, at a point, rig you up, and you won't have to say anything, and they'll be able to read and take the information out of your brain.
Well, that's like them taking it out of your phone right now.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing. No, more importantly is you can't tell your wife, I forgot.
Yeah.
that's the big one. Like, oh, fuck, you fucked it up, Elon. Anyways, what are you mostly excited about right now? Besides everything? What is like the biggest... Because now you're in the routine. Now you've been doing this for the past 2 years.
Yeah.
Now you're into the habit. Now you could almost be like, I got to jump on another plane,
Yeah.
But what's the child part of you of like, dude, I see this and I see that?
So, after the One Motor Show, I had such great conversations with a few of my mates, and the possibilities that is lined up. I'm super excited to get back home and get those conversations started and actually get them ironed out. That it becomes
solid.
Yeah, because
reality.
Because if that happens, that's like what I've been working for, and that's the next big step in my goal list. And it's like suddenly becomes a possibility I could make a difference in the industry, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, of course.
So I'm very excited to see where that goes. But when I get back, I got a few more adventures to go on. So I got to work quickly. I'm very fortunate. I'm going to see the speedway racing in Poland in May. That's going to be
in May?
In May, yeah.
So you're doing the Speedway, Bike Shed, and Isle of Man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's how. Now, I wanted to ask you, but I heard you say it, but I want to know if that's how it works. What are your steps? Do you have a goal list? You said goal list, but do you have an actual goal list or a vision?
So I used to write and document every morning. I used to wake up and write what I wanted, as simple as what I wanted to achieve that day,
Right.
to what I wanted to achieve in the year, to the month, and I was very good at it. And that's why I kind of wanted this downscale, because I got to a point last year where there was no time for myself. I was even waking up at 4 in the morning, so I would wake up at 4, sit in my office for an hour, and then exercise for an hour, get to work at like 6:30, 7. And then it got to a point where I had too much to manage, people, this, that I started skipping on it. And then I stopped reading, stopped documenting it. And that's as well when I wanted to get to the change. And so now I feel like I'm getting back into that routine where I can write my goals list, because subconsciously you don't even realize when you write a goal down, you already put it out there.
Yeah.
And where I realized was so important, I found my book, where my sketches came from, and the very first bike I built, I thought I just built it out of my mind, and I found the book recently, and I had designed that bike 13 years ago, 14 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, and I actually created it, and it was all written down too. I was like, no ways. It's like someone was just like reading my mind. So yeah,
You?
yeah, yeah.
You were reading your mind. Fucking insane.
So yeah, I think just writing it down is important, which I need to get back to.
Yeah, it's interesting because I worked for a television advertisement company back in like 2006 or something. And the GM called me in, Aaron Scobie. He was on the show, very successful individual. He was on the show, and anyways, he calls me into the office, and he was calling all the employees one by one, and he was like, "You have 1 week to write all your goals for the next month, year, etc. If you don't, you're getting fired."
Yeah,
like straight out.
Yeah,
yeah. Like otherwise, I never would have done it.
Yeah,
I wrote all kinds of nonsense. I wrote like new motorcycle.
Yeah.
I didn't have I had an older bike back then. New motorcycle, travel to Cuba, because I haven't gone to Cuba because my mom was like, you can't go to Cuba now because that's Fidel Castro's Cuba. That's not my Cuba. And I was like, well, then I'll never go because it's been his for 60 something years.
Yeah.
Anyways, I had all these goals at the end of the year. So I did it, wrote it, gave it to him, forgot it. At the end of the year, he called everybody in and just gave us our letters back. And just to go through it was like, wow, like 70% I hit, and, not even trying. And
I think that's actually such a great thing, because if you don't have your own goals in your own life, how can the owner or the business, the CEO expect you to fulfill their goals?
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
But that's interesting too, because if you compare like corporate America,
yeah,
I was working on my MBA at Pepperdine, and we were learning about this. A majority of companies want you to check into, once you walk into the business, they want you to check in from the neck down.
Okay.
They don't want you to fucking think or
anything.
This is your job.
You belong to me.
You belong to me. Don't do more or anything else.
Yeah.
And that's like a mindset. And I've had this conversation with many people from different countries that are very successful, where it's like, why is there so many immigrants that come here and in 1 year, and within 1 year they're hitting goals that are insane.
Yeah.
And then you have so many Americans that are just, kind of like not going further. And you talk to them and it's like, oh, I can't do it because of this. I can't do it because of that. I need this money. I need this connection. I don't have that. Like, we have all these excuses.
Yeah.
And it's insane. People that come here, they're just like, what? It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, except in your mind. So anyways, I like touching base on that.
But I think that, I agree with that. I mean, that's insane. Like, but also it starts at such a young age. And if you look, so in my friendship group, every single one of us that kind of failed at school, we're all actually doing really well in life. Yeah. And I just feel like, and you talk about it and what they teach you, they groom you at a young age to just fall in line and follow, this is what you need to do, and like fall into the 9 to 5.
Right.
And then it's all the ones that have gone against it that in my circle that have
all
succeeded. And I think internationally, locally, you're pretty much like, fuck you, this doesn't make sense. And just do what you think is right.
What you think is right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw somewhere, I don't know if it was like an Instagram or a TikTok post, but it was just talking about like the educational system. I think it said it was created by the militaries.
Okay.
So the militaries were like, how do we get people to be like patriotic and to join the military and defend their country? They created this establishment, and they're like, well, while we're at it, what do we need them to learn? Okay, basic this, that. Yeah. So it's like from the inception, the educational system was built to brainwash for people to be patriot.
and
patriotic and yes sir, no sir,
and say, and make fear success.
Right.
Because they make it seem so unattainable, and it is scary. But what isn't worth achieving that's not scary?
Yeah.
And it's just easy. I think it's just easy to, as well, for people to just say, I couldn't do this because of this. So they have an excuse. They know deep down they could have done it. And I think it's just their own way of kind of looking in the mirror every morning and kind of not saying you're a loser, just to, say,
saying you're a loser.
Well,
saying, hey, I'm a fucking loser. Or I'm fat, or I developed a bad habit, or fucking, I could change this. I could change. You have to.
Yeah. And I think that's unfortunately which I'm not complaining.
Right.
Because, geez, if everyone had to work as hard as we do, then I'd have to wake up at 1 a.m.
Right.
So they must carry on.
Yeah, must carry on.
It's tough. It's tough as it is. So, yeah.
And it's weird because it's like the amount of money that we invest in ourselves is insane. And people, that's another thing. People don't want to invest in themselves in that sense. They're like, I don't want to risk my savings or my money into myself. But it's like, they'll risk it into somebody else's project or dream or stock or whatever the case is. Yeah, it's fascinating.
But it was quite wild. I had one of my clients, older gentleman, he's done fairly well for himself. And he kind of said to me, he's like, you take a lot of risks. I said, what do you mean? He goes, how old are you? I'm like, 35. So he goes, you just tell me an idea and you just go for it. He said, most people will stop and figure. I said, you know what? I could sit down and write the pros, the cons, but I believe that it's going to work. And if I sit down, obviously I do a calculated risk to a certain point. But if I sit down there and I start calculating what could possibly go wrong, you talk yourself out of it. So I've just actually, like with all my stuff, I've actually just gone ahead and done it. Because I heard on this one podcast, it's like, burn every fucking life raft. Because, you think if this doesn't work, I'll do that. No. Do what you set out to do. And that's what I've been doing. I mean, from just having a small little workshop to now owning a coffee shop, a storage facility, custom bike shop, parts, it's slowly but surely growing to like a little motorcycle empire. And if I sat there and wrote all the cons and pros, the cons you'll somehow always figure out to outweigh the pros. And I'm just one of those person. I'll jump and I'll figure out how to swim later. And I will figure it out.
Yeah, there was a speaker, I can't remember his name, but he was talking about something similar, and he's like, you have to take chance. Everything's risky.
Yeah,
waking up's risky. Going in your car's risky. If you invest, it's risky. But wait till you get the bill for not investing. Yeah, it's like it's all a risk.
Yeah.
So it just depends on. It's just weird, man. If people want to do something, they'll do it. And if they don't want to do something, they'll find all the excuses for doing it. And like you said, it's like you could have 5 positive things, like 5 pros, and you could have 20 cons. But what people don't realize is that those 5 pros are so more powerful than these 20 or 100, cons.
And then you probably go through the cons, and you've actually just added a few in just to kind of talk you out of it. So when someone asks you why you didn't do it, you can be like, you know what? I actually did the calculations, and it's not going to work out.
Right.
And then to kind of make them feel better about themselves.
Yeah, it's that old expression. If you think you can or can't, you're right.
Yeah, that's true.
Fucking simple. Simple. Anything else you want to touch bases on? Any shout outs? Anything you want to bring up?
You know what? I think that's just like, I'm still trying to digest what has just happened in the last 2 weeks. I mean, it's just been motorcycle mayhem, and I've just been on the go for the last 14 days. I have not stopped. I experienced so much, and I'm actually, like, when I get home and I put my feet up, I'm going to digest what has happened. I mean, from going to the MotoGP, I got to go inside Brad Binder's pit and go chat to all the technicians. So, like, I've just been experiencing the most insane thing.
A kid in a candy store.
Yeah. And then I think what was definitely one of my highlights was taking the bike to the One Motor Show, and then the bike won the One Motor Show award. So
amazing.
Yeah.
That's fucking amazing. That feeling, you can't even buy that feeling.
Yeah, I mean, when I got called onto stage, because one of my mates was like, we think you're going to win the world because it's got all those links and then this. We think you're going to win that welding award. I was like, because I didn't think I had any chance with any awards, because I went through all of them and I was just like, it is what it is. I'm here to show what I can create. And I didn't want to get like myself excited about possibly winning an award and not winning.
Right.
So anyway, I was like, yeah, maybe. And then I was like, shit, I actually could. There's a possibility. So anyway, and then the guy that won it, which hands down deserved. I mean, it was insane. It was an old Beamer, and he had these joins, and the welds was just like, it was just insane. What is that old school 4-cylinder Beamer? The K, is it not the K100? That's the flat. But anyway.
Hey, Jamie. Well, no, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Imagine.
But it was just, everything was handcrafted out of aluminium. It was just exceptional. So anyway, he got called, and I was like, next time. And then I didn't realize there were any more awards. And then they started chatting, and they're like, yeah, so the one motor show award goes to this insane bike. But if you walk past it, you wouldn't think it's just, modified Sportster. But then you go back and you're like, hey, man, this oak's actually attention to detail. We made everything from the frame to the shifter to the bushings. Like, all we had was the motor, and we fabricated everything around it. And then we threw BST wheels on it and Olin suspension. And then they start going to detail, and he's like, yeah, this guy flew in from South Africa. And I was like,
the fuck are they talking about?
Yeah, is there anyone else from South Africa here?
Yeah.
And then they said, yeah, Alex Stoos. And I was just like, it was just so surreal, man. Like, it's like one of my first big international wins, and it was cool. It was really cool.
No, that's beyond cool.
So yeah, that's why I'm like, it's just been unreal. The connections, the people, the access I've had in the industry, again, internationally. Like, never would I thought I'd be able to be sitting in the KTM pits and look at the racers' bikes and chat to the technician, what goes into it, why do they do this? Obviously with a certain limited information, but I mean, just to sit there and examine the bike, it was phenomenal, and have the technicians tell me what goes into this, and it was just phenomenal.
What was the best piece of information that blew your mind?
Well, I think the what blew my mind is the brakes and rotors cost $15,000 each time, and they go through 36 sets a season. And that's just the brake pads and rotor. So that was quite mind-blowing. But I was a bit on auto. This whole week, this whole 2 weeks has been a bit autopilot, like surreal.
Yeah.
Just hanging and then we went just hanging with the most insane people.
And we have to give a shout out to your wife.
Oh, yeah. No, she's been a trooper, especially because she was supposed to come with me on the trip.
Yeah.
And she just opened up her studio literally 2 weeks before. So
Pilates studio.
Pilates studio.
Yeah. Pilates Studios in South Africa. Where's your location?
So it's in Century City.
Century City.
Yeah, it's called Sweaty Palms. So hit her follow, and yeah, she's amazing, and supports me on everything I do. So I'm very fortunate to have not only a really good-looking wife, in shape, but super supportive
and understanding.
Yeah,
and patient.
Yeah,
and loving.
Yeah,
and patient.
and then come back and say, okay, cool, honey. Yeah. Thanks that I'm leaving again.
I'm gonna ride more motorcycles.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be with my friends.
Yeah. So it is quite crazy, and she knows that motorcycle's my world, and she's never ever said, never made me feel bad about getting on my bike and going.
No guilt trip.
No guilt. When it comes to the motorcycles, she knows when we met, that motorcycles is my life.
It. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. I have like a weird schedule and certain things and that I want to do, and I collaborate and I say, okay, I'll do this instead, I'll do that instead.
Yeah.
But the moment it's a motorcycle event or a podcast, everybody knows you're not going to cancel or fuck with me on that. Those two things, you're not going to mess around with my rides. You're not going to mess around with my camping, whatever it is, or a podcast. Yeah. That's the only time. I don't want to say I tell everybody to fuck off, but everybody fucks off in the most respectful way.
100%.
Yeah.
And that's what I said. I said, when we started our relationship, I said, my business and the motorcycle world comes first. Yeah. That's all I know. That's our livelihood. And that is me. And I must be honest, not only it's easy for people to agree to it.
Yeah.
But stand by it and support it. Like, even now to the point where I've been gone now for 2.5 weeks, and the London show is when I get back is in 3 weeks, and I'm overseas another twice before then. She's like, my angel, you need to go to London. Like, that's something you have to do.
Right.
And most wives would just be like, you've been gone away. You've done what you've had to do. Why do you need to go there? And she's like,
yeah.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
So she's like, my angel, I think I know I've mentioned before, but you got to go. So what did? I drove back from Portland and dropped my bike off, and now it's getting sent to London.
Yeah, what I was going to say is I think there's that border where before you kind of like make it or you've committed, it's like women test you.
Yeah.
They test you, like, what the fuck are you doing with the shop? And the shop's bullshit and this, that. In the back of their mind, they're like, if it makes him happy and he's going to make money and this is the future, fucking be successful.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, it's like they're testing you unintentionally. It'd be crazy if it was intentionally, but unintentionally, they're like, hey, what the fuck are you doing? You've had this for 4 or 5 years. What is that noise? Oh,
they're doing the lawn.
Yeah. Wednesday, I forgot. But unintentionally, they'll go and they'll be like, hey, what the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? Why are you wasting your time? Why are you doing something else? Why don't you get the job? This, that.
Yeah.
And then maybe there's a down moment and they'll try to convince you otherwise. But once you get past that line, then it's game changer.
Yeah.
Then it's game changer, and then they get it. It's
and
like
then,
you have to do it.
And then when you do succeed, you've done it together.
Yeah.
And I think then it's so much more enjoyable. There's no what do you call it? What's it when it like divides between you guys? Like there's no anger between you. At the end, you can enjoy it together. And I'm super.
Instead of being angry at each other when each other are gone, you get to enjoy each other when you're together.
Exactly.
You appreciate it.
Yeah, and then once the journey's over, you've done it together. I've supported you, and now it's also great. I get to support her in her line of work.
Right.
So it's awesome. We're a power couple.
Yeah, that's what it's about.
Yeah.
Power couple. Alex, one more time, man. Let's give what websites? How do people get a hold of you? Email, phone number, whatever. Whatever. Instagram handle.
So we got Stoos Customs on Instagram. So hit the follow button. Trying to get some more followers there. And check what we do. If you're interested in any of the builds or parts, you can drop us a mail at alex@stooscustoms.com or go to stooscustoms.com. We've also got our storage facility, the Motorcycle Vault. So hit that a follow on Instagram. And the next journey when I get back is for our rental fleet. So stay tuned for that, because if you want to come to South Africa and you will go on an insane bike ride, hit us up. We're going to have a rental fleet by the end of the year. And it's not just going to be your ordinary. We're going to get a few Harleys and make them look pretty cool and offer experiences.
Customize them,
instead
of stock, boring Harleys.
100%. Stoos Customs Harley. And we're going to offer experiences. So you can book them for like 5 days and go on a bit of a journey.
That's fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
Alex, I'm so proud of you, man.
Thank you, man.
I'm
Thanks
so proud of you. I'll be following you on your journey. And see you on next one.
And we've got to get you out.